Hi, I'm Owen from Rask Australia. Thanks for tuning in to the Rask Network. Before we get into today's show, there are a few things we have to go over. Firstly, what you're about to hear and see is limited to general information only. It's not personal financial advice like you get from a financial planner. Also, it's important to remember that past performance is not indicative of future performance. That means that anything that's happened in the past, or we say today, is not necessarily going to reflect what happens in the future. Lastly, please consider that any of the guests or myself are featuring on this program may have a financial interest in some of the products or shares mentioned. That's enough from me. I hope you enjoyed today's program. Kate, Campbell, welcome to this episode of the Australian Finance Podcast.
It is wonderful to be back for another episode of Money and Chill. It has been a couple of months since our last one. We've had a lot going on in the Rask world.
Yes, there has been. And as always, we are joined by Mini Pizza, aka Monique. How you going?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good, very good. So we're in the studio today, and this is the week before we go away for the roadshow, the very first roadshow, which will be in Perth.
Hopefully you've heard about it by now on social media or via our emails.
Yes, we still, at the time of recording, we have 10 tickets left to Perth, but they'll likely sell out. And we've got about the same for Adelaide, maybe less. But Traralgon, Wangaratta, Sydney, Townsville, Port Macquarie, Newcastle, Brisbane, still available.
Gold Coast?
Gold Coast as well. Brisbane did sell out, and so apologies for the mixed messaging. It sold out, then we got a bigger venue or capacity at the venue, and now we've got about 10 tickets, I'd say, remaining. Mm-hmm. So at all the events, it looks like we're going to have 100 people or more, which is fantastic. People bring their friends. On average, people buy 2 tickets because, I mean, there's an incentive to buy more tickets, but it's so people can bring their friends and family along. So that's next week.
And we're bringing some of our friends that you've heard from the podcast in the past on the show, like Evan Lucas and Chris Bates.
Yeah, so Chris won't be at Perth or Adelaide, but he'll be up the East Coast. Basically, it's like a random mishmash, what do you call it? Except for Sydney, where basically everyone's coming because that's the biggest event. That will be the final one, which will be hopefully a few hundred people. At the Roundhouse, if you're familiar at UNSW, that's the last event. That's where we conclude the Roadshow series. And there's no Melbourne event because in 2024 we're planning a very, very big Melbourne event. So keep your ears and eyes peeled for that one. But yeah, we've got Chris Bates, there'll be Amy Lunardi, Pete Wargent, Daniel and Jordan from the Business Podcast. As you said, Evan, the three of us. There will be Mal, of course. Tash is coming to Gold Coast. That's Tash Invest. Queenie's coming to Sydney. The team from Perla. Anna from Perla as well is coming to Traralgon and Wangaratta. Emma Edwards from the Broke Generation is coming to both of those as well. Matt from Aussie Firebug.
So everyone, just everyone.
Dave Gow. Yeah. Captain Fire will be probably at the Adelaide one, I think, and maybe Traralgon as well. So we've got so many wonderful people coming along. Money coaches, investors, the team at Global X, Waddle Partners, Drew. It's going to be awesome. So we're super pumped. Even if you can't get to one, you will be able to hear recordings because there will be select recordings from some of them, including the Sydney event where probably all of them will be recorded.
Yeah, so if you're coming along, welcome, and hopefully you come up and say hello to us while we're there.
We would love to. We would love to because we did the Melbourne event last year and it was just so much fun. We were probably the last people standing and the bar was like, get out. And they're like, it's midnight. They were like, oh, you sure?
Yeah.
But it was so much fun. So we're doing it again all around the country and it's going to be a blast. So get your tickets if you haven't already. If they do sell out, we do apologize. It's awesome. And we've got a great community around us and we're so grateful for that. So come along, bring your friends and family to it.
Yeah. So if you're new to Money and Chill, these episodes we usually do each month, but it has been a few months because life, you know.
Yep. Things happen.
And we just chat about what's happening in the Rask team, some of the ways we've saved, made or invested money recently, some of our favourite podcasts and resources that we want to share with you, and just generally what we're up to so you can keep on top of everything. So if you want a more serious ETF investing episode, we've got plenty in the back catalogue and we've got plenty of other podcasts to pike your interest.
Yes.
But this one is more of a get to know us and what's happening.
Yeah, behind the scenes kind of thing. And Monique, who is our producer, podcast manager here at Rask, gets behind the mic.
Yep. I pitch in just a little bit.
Reluctantly. Are you going to be on stage at one of these
Definitely
events?
not.
Okay,
Definitely
that's
not.
settled.
If any listener can get Monique on stage, I will definitely find you a prize.
No.
But you do have fabulous shoes on today, so
Thank you,
congratulations.
yes.
That is a purchase from this month we can talk about.
Yes, true. Although it was a gift card, so can we really call it a purchase? We'll
That's a
call
good
it
way
a
to say
purchase. Yeah.
Was that a gift card not to yourself, right, from someone else?
It was a birthday present, yeah.
That's cool. So you bought the shoes. People can't see this because it's below the table.
Yes.
But,
I'll just lift my whole leg up.
yeah, hold on a second. Look how flexible
Something
I am.
should stay below the table.
Yeah. So you got the shoes you always wanted.
Yes, well, for the past 2 months that I've always wanted,
always wanted.
because
So
they haven't
flexible.
really been in store for that long, but they were like 40% off, so I could actually use my voucher and not spend extra money. So it was a nice little perk that I
cool.
saved because it was for my birthday, and birthday's in October, so I have held on to that gift card for like a tiny long while.
Yeah, some of those gift cards just never get used, you know?
Stores
It
make a lot of
stresses
money.
me out.
Yeah.
It
The
stresses me
breakage
out
is they-
sometimes. Like I have it in my wallet all the time, and it's there looking at me. I'm like, you have to use it before the expiry date. And I'm like, but I don't want anything, and I don't need anything.
Yeah, I've got 2 of them just sitting in my, like the console section of my car. The home ones, you know, the home ones,
yeah.
which they're like generic. You can get them like Woolies. I just got them sitting there. I'm like, when am I going to go to one of these stores? I need to use
This
it.
weekend.
Probably.
Do it.
I think this is a good reminder for everyone listening. If you have a gift card that is sitting in the bottom of your drawer, you should use it.
Go and use it, yeah.
Yep.
I've got heaps just randomly. And,
Okay.
No,
you can
and-
just bring them in. Like, I'll spend some.
I'll use some.
I love Officeworks. Have you got an Officeworks one?
I think I use that one.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Unless these home ones can, that's I don't know. But what ends up happening with me is I don't want to spend them all. So like I don't, like if it's $100, I'm like, maybe the thing I want is $70. So then I always forget about the last like 30. Sounds very like first world problem, but it's true. Like
I usually just
like
chuck in a
$5
pair of socks and round it up.
Yeah, and then you've got to spend more, and then you're like, oh, okay, I wasn't.
I'd
gonna
rather
come here,
use
but-
it all up because I won't go back and use the leftover $5. I probably won't remember.
What's the one thing? So if you get a voucher, where do you want it to be? For me, I'll start so you guys can think about it. For me, it's Endota Spa. I just love
I was going to say
Really?
that because
Oh,
I
really?
can never spend the money myself
On a
because it's
massage.
so expensive. Well, Endota Spa in particular is very expensive.
Yeah. Yeah, I love them. So if you're listening, family members, and you want to get me a present. But yeah, I flat out love those ones because I wouldn't do that myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a huge spa fan, but I probably just stick to the clothing vouchers because I love clothes.
Yeah, fair enough. By the way, Endota is also a participant of some of those, you know, where you like not the cashback ones, but you get more, like you get a discount on the gift cards. So sometimes they appear in like your marketplace, like I don't know if it's on Macquarie or CommBank or whatever.
I know Macquarie and some of the car, like RACV, have
I
gift
think
card
RACV have them,
discounts
yeah.
and things like that. So
RACV
there is-
being RACQ or whatever else you have around the country. Yeah. Cool. Okay. One thing that we did recently, Kate, or I should say you did, not to take any of your thunder, is we did a bit of there's this feature that you can use in Spotify now where for every episode that we put out, we can ask you a question and get your feedback.
Yes. So if you do use Spotify to listen to the podcasts, you can scroll down to the bottom of the episode and you can share one of your takeaways from the episode. And when I remember to go in, I can hit publish so you can read what people thought about the episode. And I can also put up polls. So some of the episodes recently, like the one I did with Dr. Daniel Crosby on behavioral
good.
finance, I added a little poll to the bottom because he talked about this idea. He was talking about how in the US, the number one cause of divorce is arguments over finances. And he had done some research recently to unpack what exactly the argument was about instead of this broad finance. And so he and his team found that it was that constant trade-off between enjoying today and securing tomorrow that was causing most of these fights and tensions. And I found that was probably my number one takeaway from the episode because I feel like even in our own individual lives, that we're always balancing that trade-off between enjoying our day-to-day and securing tomorrow, whether that's investing or saving or doing something else with our money. And so I asked the poll at the end of the episode whether you prefer to enjoy today, secure tomorrow, or do a bit of both. And lo and behold, the overwhelming response from people that answered that poll was a bit of both.
Yeah.
And I think most of us that are listening probably sit somewhere in the middle because we want to do meaningful things with our money right now, but we're also saving for a house deposit, a holiday. We're investing for our future.
Yeah. I was definitely in the secure tomorrow camp for like many years though. I don't know about you guys, but like I was like willing to forego almost everything today for the future.
Yeah. I've
That probably
noticed probably the last couple of years I've made myself feel more present and enjoy the present. But also like a bit of both is
Because
also
you were
great.
a hardcore saver for most of your 20s.
Exactly, yeah. But I'm like, no, I should actually enjoy myself now while I can. Like, not while I can, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. You're young. Go do it.
I don't know, like, what tomorrow brings. Something might come up and I won't be able to enjoy the things that I enjoy now tomorrow.
Yeah. Also, are you wearing pink because of Barbie?
Well, no, but as I was coming into work this morning, I'm like, this is very on theme. Maybe all the marketing has got to me.
Yeah. That's a running thing behind the scenes. I loved it. I went to some friends and they said
Did
they
you
just
see
kept
it?
on, yeah.
I'm going to see it
loved
tomorrow.
I loved it.
I might be the only one in this team that hasn't seen it.
Yeah, it seems like it. But honestly, it's really good. And I was apparently in the cinema. I went with some mates, and not male and female. It's not like a group of dudes walking into Barbie, but that'd be fine if you are. But I had my I was just like shocked at the screen the whole time. I was just in love with it. And I thought it was so good. It makes you laugh. So
Nice.
it's highly recommended. If you go on Tight Ass Tuesdays, you get to save as well.
So it's a low-cost way you boosted your happiness this week.
Honestly, it was great. And it's great to be back in the cinemas. And what I thought there was that when I was watching the trailers, all of a sudden I was like, hold on a second. There are actually really good movies coming down the pike. 2 years ago, because of COVID, it just stopped all production.
Yep.
And so we were basically just left with whatever's on Netflix and whatever. But now a lot of them are returning to cinemas and they're seriously good.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah. And I feel like, Top Gun, Maverick, I feel like that set the scene for this new genre of movie, which is you want to see it in the cinema. Loud noises, it's really cinematic.
They're also longer.
Yeah. Like Oppenheimer, I haven't seen it.
You didn't do both in one day?
I know, I'm going to go.
Gosh.
I'm going to go.
My sister tells me you have to do both.
Yeah, apparently it's fantastic.
Too much time.
But the Barbie movie has its own soundtrack and it's so good. It's a whole thing. So
I know you love
I think
Lizzo.
you would actually enjoy it, Kate.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I'm not
lots of fun.
anti-seeing it. I just haven't seen a movie all year, so...
Oh, you got to go.
Yeah,
You gotta
okay.
go.
And I also did another poll that I thought I'd share because there's another great episode, if you haven't caught it recently on the Finance Podcast, with Declan Edwards, who's a happiness coach and researcher, which, I mean, if that's not the best job ever,
Yep.
it's a pretty cool role. And he had some great gems of wisdom on that. And one of the biggest things he was talking about is having a regular gratitude practice and how so much of the research backs that up as boosting your happiness and allowing you to be more present. And it's not just writing down a list of things, it's actually articulating why you're grateful for each thing. He used the word sort of marinate in the gratitude juices, which is a weird visual, but I think it's a really good idea. And I usually just write the list. So now I'm trying to put a bit more behind it.
Behind the scenes, when we come out of episodes now, all of the hosts basically, we all talk about them and people, even Monique gets to sit in the room. But what we do now is we know when there's a really good episode and a really good recording, and Kate came out and she's like, he's incredible. It's just incredible.
And he's coming to our Newcastle event.
He is, yeah, he's speaking.
He's going to be on stage with me at the start. So if you come into Newcastle, you have a treat.
Yeah. Is Shell coming as well?
Yes, Shell from My Millennial Career. So I'm
Yes.
teaming them up on stage. So we'll
Yeah.
see what magic happens. But I did ask after this podcast if people have a regular gratitude practice. And quite a few of you said you do either daily or weekly. And a lot of people also said they're going to try it after listening to that episode. So that's really cool.
Yeah, it looks like there's 35% of people have said either weekly or daily. I probably was at weekly for a while, but now I'm daily. Now I'm at weekly.
Yeah.
Just based purely on time, but so good, isn't it? You can pay it forward as well. You can think forward, not just what's happened, but what's going to happen. The anticipation. Okay, so I think there's been some great episodes lately. Has anyone saved money? We don't really have. We spent money recently. We've spent a lot of money.
Well, one way I saved money was not having to get a tradesperson in to fix my dishwasher.
Okay.
So
Explain.
after 12 months of living in my current place, I've realised that one needs to clean the filter of the dishwasher on a regular basis. Monique tells me this is something you do twice a year, at least.
Did I say twice a year? I'll
Yes.
go with
So
that.
you want
yeah.
to clean out that little cage thing pretty regularly.
Yes. Well, I didn't know that's a thing people do.
Yeah.
Living in share houses and in different places in the past
Yeah.
I didn't have to do that, and I
Yeah.
didn't know that was a thing. So lo and behold, like a week ago, my dishwasher was filled with water at the bottom and nothing had cleaned.
Oh, no.
And so after scooping all the water out with a teacup into the sink, I got to the filter, gave that a big scrub. My dad told me I had to get one of those finished things from the supermarket that you put in like a plate and it cleans the pipes and the grease and everything.
Descaler.
So I have a very shiny dishwasher now. It works, and I didn't have to pay a fortune for anyone to come in and fix it. So a quick Google of how to fix a clogged dishwasher.
Love Google.
So it was a $10 fix rather than $100
Yeah,
plus dollar fix.
love it.
Those descaler things, you can get them from Bunnings. Like people have coffee machines will know this. You can get them from Bunnings and it's so much cheaper. Just as an FYI, you can buy like the branded Breville ones or whatever coffee machine you have, and it's like super expensive. But if you just go direct to Bunnings, they have descaler.
I've never cleaned my Nespresso machine either.
Nespresso probably doesn't.
Okay.
You just check that, but definitely with
needs a
the
wipe.
with the proper group handle type
Yeah.
basket things. Yeah.
But the whole point of this is it's reminded me that I probably should do some preventative housework to make sure things don't stop working or blow up in the future. And there may be things I've neglected that I just didn't know I had to do. So I'm going around at the moment and trying to work out what can I do proactively to stop myself needing a tradesperson.
Here's a tip for anyone that doesn't already know this. Choice. Absolutely brilliant website. Choice Australia recommends dishwashers, beds, washing machines, and they're remarkably good at their research, their testing and all that sort of stuff. And sometimes they just have like blogs on their website that tell you how to do these types of things. Massive fan of Choice. We used it to buy our fridge. We had the subscription lapse after so many years, and then we didn't realize, and then we're like, oh, we should see what Choice says before we go and buy this thing. And we reactivated the subscription, and it was well worth it. It's pretty cheap, a yearly subscription. So if you haven't already, check that out.
Yeah.
It's
now
really
I'm
good
like,
for white goods.
what about my other pipes? Or should I clean my washing machine? Like, what else can I do to stop anything?
You need to do that as well.
Yeah,
on
I've
the
done
front at the
none
bottom.
of the things. So now I'm doing all the things.
Yeah. Now you probably go the other way. Too much.
All the adulting. What about you, Monique?
Well, mine's haven't been saving money at all, planning trips and everything as well. So definitely not saving any money. But I freelance on the side as well. And I had a couple of jobs at ScienceWorks last school holidays. And I realized they have these really cool like kids school holiday programs that I think you have to pay for some, but there should still be some free ones. I don't even know when the next holiday. Do you know when the next school holiday?
They've just come.
I think we just finished.
Yeah. So parents, take note. Next one.
Yeah. So next school holidays, look up like ScienceWorks, Acme, museums. I'm sure every other state has their own museum and stuff like that. And there's all these really cool kids programs where they do arts and crafts. The job I was taking photos at, it was at ScienceWorks, and they had to create like their own space station, and they learnt about space. An astronomer came in and spoke about space. They watched like a movie in the planetarium where it's like you lie down in a cinema and the screen's on the ceiling, so you feel like you're in space.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. And even though I was working there, I had so much fun. Like I felt like a kid myself, and like just I was helping the kids as well, just because I was there. I wasn't part of my job. But it was so fun. And I think I've become more conscious about these things as well because my sister just had a child. So I'm like sorting through all the kids' things that are around and that she can do with her son in the future. But yeah, it's just like amazing how many different workshops there are. I know I used to volunteer at Acme as well, and they did like movie making.
What's Acme?
The Australian Centre of the Moving Image. It's in the city in Melbourne. So they do like movie making workshops where you can like make a flip book and take photos and
For
green
adults?
screen stuff. There's mainly for kids, but I think for like there's high school kid stuff as well. I mean, if you go and volunteer at Acme, you can partake in the activities, which is what I used to do. There's some very embarrassing photos of me. But yeah, I just thought like, I feel like we already kind of know that these things are around, but because I was involved in this particular job, it just reminded me that there's so much out there for kids and stuff during the holidays.
Yeah. The zoo does a really good thing as well. Like sometimes it's free for kids.
Yeah.
So go and check them out. Yeah, it's great. And we have Science Works in Victoria, and it is unbelievable.
I love it. I hadn't been there in like 10 years, and I'm like, I'm taking everyone here. It's the best.
It is incredible. Like, obviously I'm a space geek, and I just can't get enough of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
You've seen all the planetarium shows.
There's stuff there for every kid. That's the cool thing. Like, if your kid's more into like music, and there'll be like guitars, and there'll be all these types of old musical instruments and how they work. And then there's the ones where it's like the athletics center that you can see how far you can pull or how hard you can pull something. Like
go up against Kathy Freeman.
Yeah, or like a sprint or like a whatever. And it kind of benchmarks everyone, no matter what their interest is, like space, here on Earth, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
And
It's
it
so
shows,
cool.
there's a cafe for the parents. So yeah, I think it's really cool. It's a good recommendation.
Yeah.
What have I got? I don't really have anything, sorry guys. But what I would say is like
You've brought a few animals this month.
Nice.
Has
I
that been
bought-
like paying off in terms of more eggs?
so the chickens that I bought were quite young, so they were just laying
Not
eggs.
yielding
They've already
yet.
gone from 1 to 2.
Oh,
Yep, so
there
they've
we
already
go.
gone from 1 to 2, and they will go to 3 in probably about 3 or 4 weeks once it starts to get a bit warmer.
3 eggs a day.
Yeah. We've got 4 chickens and 2 turkeys of all things.
3 eggs per chicken?
No, like they'd get up to a run rate of around
Oh,
about.
right, okay.
Well, listen to me, finance terms. Run rate. What does that even mean?
I mean, that's a lot of eggs.
Yeah, 3 eggs a day. Yeah, I'd probably have 3
across
eggs a day.
all the chickens.
Yeah, across all the
Okay,
chickens.
that
Yeah,
makes
no,
more
they're
sense.
not dropping them out 3 times a day, I can tell you what. But interestingly, we used to have the chickens that were like I call them genetically modified chickens because they're like the ones that people have in like the cages. Obviously ours weren't. But they lay eggs that are enormous because they're for the production line. But now that eggs have got super expensive because some of the governments in Australia are clamping down on caged eggs, I've recently gone to the purebred chickens, which are a bit more expensive to buy and they don't lay as much. But I reckon the eggs are smaller, but they're nicer. And that probably saves us a lot, you know, like the chickens, these ones weren't cheap, but I always go free range eggs. I'm like one of those people, but I could pay $12 for an egg carton, right? So I'm getting 3 eggs a day. They consume a bit of feed and whatever, but they're mostly free range, just walk around. But the turkeys, however, have no ROI. There's no return on investment from the turkeys.
It's pure joy.
Just pure pleasure. Just look at that red head and I just think, wow, how beautiful is that thing? It looks kind of like a dinosaur.
Do you have buyer's regret with the turkeys?
I've got a story to tell. So we call one of them Bluey, and I just called it randomly Bluey, but now all of a sudden its head turned blue,
Oh.
right? And I'm like, what?
Did you manifest that?
And I'm like, why is it turned blue?
Oh.
Because it turns out it's a male. So we did not expect that. Now we have one male, one female.
That's what you wanted,
I
wasn't it?
did secretly want that, but I wasn't
Yes.
allowed that.
You've actually manifested.
The guy who was picking the turkeys out of the pen when I bought them, he was like, I'm like, oh, I'll take one male, one female. And he's like, oh, no. Do not take that. He had an accent. He's like, no, don't do that. And I'm like, oh, why? And he's like, because the male will want to hump the female and that's not good. And I'm like, okay, no worries. So his son goes to grab the turkey to grab it for me. And he goes, oh, no, that one's a male to the son. And the son's like, okay. And then grabs the female. Turns out it was a male, the next one that he grabbed. So now we're in a situation where it gobbles really loudly.
That's great.
If you go towards
And you
it.
might have turkey babies.
Might have turkey baby.
Oh my God.
So maybe there is an ROI. I don't know. Long-term return.
I don't know.
But this is really interesting because we spoke about chickens and chooks and all that sort of stuff and farming with Steve Sammartino.
The futurist.
Yeah,
on-
he came back for
Yes.
a second time. He spoke about it here on the Finance Podcast, but he also spoke on the Investors Podcast. And he talked about how having chickens is kind of like investing. It's
and
like,
taught him a lot about starting a business as an adult.
yeah, that's it. So like, you know, you have your chickens and that's like kind of like the thing that does the growing for you. It lays the eggs and you don't eat all the eggs because sometimes you let them birth and then you get more chickens and then you get more eggs and so on and so forth. Anyway, we had a whole conversation about this on Money and Chill. I think the original Money and Chill had an egg reference in it. So here we are. Yeah. What else? So behind the scenes, guys, what have you been doing? Any changes in your life? What's happened?
Oh my God.
Or-
You would turn to me.
yeah.
What have I been doing? I'm just, like I said before, I've been planning a holiday.
Yeah. You are the holiday guru. People have written in a couple times saying,
Really?
remember the last time you spoke about your holiday?
I did too, yeah.
And we did the hypothetical, like if you had
Yeah.
like 3 places to go for different budgets
Yep.
within Australia, small overseas trip,
Yep.
Europe kind
Yeah,
of thing.
true. Yeah. Well, my tip for this round of planning this holiday is plan it a year out, and everything's so much cheaper.
Yeah, yeah, like the flights and all that
Yeah,
sort of
it's
stuff.
so much cheaper. I mean, like, of course, you're locked in, and I don't know if people are still kind of uncertain and stuff like that, doing things so far in advance. But so far, I've found it like so good to it's almost like just under a year out. And even with accommodation and stuff, everything's so much cheaper. And I've just made sure that everything's free cancellation, apart from the flights.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. And you're going to America.
Yeah, America, going to Coachella, the music festival. Never done it before,
Nice.
so I'm like, living in the present. Got to do it now.
Yeah, do it. Do it while you're young. Do it while
Yeah.
you're young. That's great. Good stuff.
Should be good.
Now, maybe I'll go and then we'll save you for last
Oh,
here.
yeah.
I don't really have any money saving hacks, but it's something I didn't tell you because you've got it in the notes here for the episode, Kate. Owen's many secret projects that Kate can't be on top of. I actually enrolled in an MBA the other day.
What?
Yeah, Masters of Business Administration, for those of you that don't know what that means. Just wrote an online MBA. So,
Good stuff.
yeah. So it's going to be 1 unit at a time. Kate's like, oh my gosh, how's he going to do this?
Not another thing.
Not another thing. But I figured you're doing your JD, Juris Doctor.
You want to be study buddies.
Study buddy. Well, you got a study buddy already. Just enrolled in an MBA program just to do 1 unit at a time. I could have got a heap of credits, but I don't want to do the credits. I actually want to go back and get in the kind of momentum of learning again because
Who are you doing it through?
Just doing it through AIB, which is the Australian Institute of Business. The reason I chose them is it's fully online and as far as I can tell, it's fully applied.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I wanted. Like I wanted strategies that I could use in the business, but also see it in the world around me rather than the real abstract type stuff. I'm going to go back and study, and I think it's a good way to get back into study for me. So always wanted to get back into study. Yeah. So thank you, Hex.
Did you get a Commonwealth supported place?
No, I didn't.
Ooh,
Yeah,
this is going to sting.
Yeah, it's a brutal one. But I just keep my income below. I just keep my income negative and then never pay it back.
Master's courses with no Commonwealth supported places are really expensive.
They're brutal.
Yeah, because I was having a look at a few.
I think HEX is a wonderful thing. I know people have criticised it recently because inflation and all that, but I still think it's a wonderful opportunity to study and upskill. And I don't think anyone is ever too old to learn. So go ahead and make use of it. There are limitations around HEX, just an FYI. If, for example, you want to buy a house, the bank will take that into account. So it does reduce your borrowing power. Now, Kate, are we allowed to talk about this?
Yeah, we can talk about
okay,
it.
we can talk about it. Okay, phew.
Well,
tell us.
As of yesterday, my very first book, Buying Happiness, is officially off to the printers.
Happiness, off to the printers.
So I got the
So
text
clap.
from the editor yesterday. So
Yeah.
it's been a hectic year working on it all, and especially the last few months going back and forth with all the edits, but it's finally done.
Yeah, congratulations.
Everything is locked in.
Congratulations.
So
The
exciting.
mistakes are locked and loaded now.
You get all the good bits and the mistakes.
So you can pre-order it if you like on Booktopia and Amazon. It'll officially be out the middle of September, and then hopefully, if you're in Melbourne, there'll be a book launch end of September, early October. So I'll make sure to share that around. But it's all about how to use your money to boost your happiness, really. Actionable ways to add a bit more value to your life and use the resources, specifically money and time, to boost your happiness and spend more time doing the good stuff. Because I think over the last 7 years, we've seen that you can have a simple investing plan and you can use the time that frees up to really invest in your relationships, your career, your hobbies, the things that make you light up. So it's a little bit of everything that we've talked about on the podcast over the years, wrapped up in one book.
That's cool.
How exciting.
Yeah, because this actually, the genesis of this is I'm not taking anything away from you, but just saying that last year we recorded an episode, 8 Ways to Buy Happiness. And that was like, we both, again, walked out of the studio, all of us, and we thought, that was so good. Like recording that, we just felt great about like helping people understand the way money impacts them in a positive way. And then the community kind of agreed because it was like a super, super popular episode and people wrote in and whatever. And then here's the book version, extended version, which is bigger and better.
Yeah, so I've spent quite a bit of time poring over the research. So there's real science behind some of the ideas in there, but then there's a bit of personal finance, a bit of investing, a bit about how to understand your money story and have good money conversations and take risks and make and learn from your mistakes. So a little bit of everything that I've loved talking about over the years and that has resonated with you from what I've seen from questions and feedback you've sent our way.
The thing that I'm very blessed, I did get an advanced read of this. The thing that I loved about it is kind of the practical steps that are also like, but it's backed up by the theory. So like ways that people have actually, it's been shown to increase happiness. Like you mentioned gratitude before. But one thing that was also stood out to me is the, where you talk about risk and taking risk. And I think it's drummed into us to be kind of risk averse at every opportunity. But one thing that you bring across is like risk is okay. Risk is good.
Yeah.
And risk is actually healthy.
And one of the reasons many of us don't start investing is because we see it as risky and we're scared of making a mistake and losing money. But many of the best things in our life right now came from something where we took a risk. Maybe it was saying yes to that job interview where you didn't feel quite qualified for everything, or going on a date, or trying a new course like an MBA. You took a risk at the very beginning, and they don't always pay off, but sometimes they become the best parts of your life now. And I think if we think risk can be a positive thing, and then maybe that helps you take that first step with investing.
So everyone's going to hear a lot more about this book in the coming months because it is fantastic. Buying Happiness. And what's the subject line? What's the subject line underneath that?
Learn to invest your time and money better, which is something we decided was the aim of the podcast a few years ago.
Yeah. So it'll be available Booktopia, Amazon. It's on the Major Street website as well.
Dymocks, hopefully in your bookstore. And it also includes some
Imagine seeing your name as you walk through.
Yeah.
Dymocks.
It's a bit terrifying.
It's like your version of My Bunnings.
Supported
it's like,
Dymocks for so many years. And I also have some of your suggestions, yours as in the community suggestions on how you've actually spent your money on material items and purchases, and how you've spent your time in ways that have added value to your life. So there's a little section at the back that's just dedicated to the Australian Finance Podcast community, and I'll have lots more examples that you've shared. I collected over 300 different people's responses on the website buyinghappiness.com.au, which won't be live the time this episode goes out, but it will be live in the coming months, so I'll share that with you.
Yeah, great. So Buying Happiness says it on the tin, but it covers so much, and it's a really easy read too, I would say. Like, it's not dense like some of the books from the States can be on the subject, so check it out. It's not like if you're sitting, if I may, if you're sitting there and you're thinking, well, I've got like kind of like a book like Barefoot Investor, which is in a lot of family homes. It's not that kind of thing, in my opinion. It's like the side thing to that, if you will. Like, it's a place where you can go and you can immerse yourself and understand, okay, I understand the essentials. Now I want to know how I can actually use this to my advantage. And through stories, examples, and research, it's awesome. So well done. Credit to you. That's
amazing. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Well, there's links in the description.
Yeah.
I've always said this for years for everyone else's book for the past 7 years, but there's links to pre-order my own book in the description of and the show notes.
Do it, and buy some for a friend or family members, because it is, once again, you don't need to be a finance person. It talks about that in there, how to get your partner involved, how to get your friend involved, and you even relive some of your own experiences, which I had a bit of a chuckle about. But check it out. It's in the show notes, and kudos to Kate for giving it a crack. It takes a long time. Yeah,
I've already got mine on pre-order.
Monique's a true fan.
I must admit, I have one or two on pre-order, I must admit. So this is wonderful, and congrats again. And ladies, it's been heaps of fun.
Yeah.
Money and chill. I love these eps.
Look forward to seeing many of you on the road over the next few months.
How exciting.
Yes. By the time we get to some of these events, the books will be fully out in the community. So I did get Kate. Kate has like a tiny little business card for the book, and I got her to sign it in Sharpie, and I put it on my computer. Be like first book signed, not real book obviously, but yeah, it's exciting. So it'll be, if you're on the roadshow towards the end, you will see it in real life. So we'll see you then. We'll see the book then. Ladies, this was fun. Thanks for joining me.
Catch you later.
Thanks for listening, everyone.